go 얼어붙어 like whoa 띵하고 어지러워 I see 한여름에도 넌 겨울 Yeah, girl you cold blood Yeah, 너와 있을 때 I swear 제가 먼저 zero 폭설한 기출들 꿈에도 I wasn't dumb 나만 빼고 넌 모두에게 참 친절해 배신감이 들어 단판이 돼도 머릿속을 흔드니 ibuprofen 그만해 it's time to stop 승부욕을 자극하는 style yeah. 알면서도 마음이 자꾸 내게 가 아마 빠져버릴까 If you want me back I'll tell you I'm sorry If you want me back I'll tell you stop trying Yeah, you got me Let it go 얼어붙어 like whoa 띵하고 어지러워 I see 한여름에도 넌 겨울 Yeah, girl you cold-blooded Yeah, girl you cold-blooded Yeah Girl you cold-blooded Girl you cold-blooded I'm like frozen 뭐야 모든 스트레스는 gotta let it go 했어 소개팅 데이팅 어플 다 깔아도 보았어 반대가 끌린대 opposites attract Don't know about me and you yeah we fell into the cracks Yeah 깎고 너네 no cap 왜 나는 보여 what's happening 객관적일 수가 없이 이미 game white flag and waving fast Yeah I'm leaving back but 말해도 너만 보면 나도 내 맘 I don't know 이거 love a relationship이 헷갈리기만 해 girl I'll tell you I'm sorry If you want me back I'll tell you stop trying Yeah, you got me Let it go 얼어붙어 like whoa 띵하고 어지러워 I see 한여름에도 넌 겨울 Girl you cold-blooded Let it go 얼어붙어 like whoa 띵하고 어지러워 I see 한여름에도 넌 겨울 Yeah, girl you cold-blooded Yeah, girl you cold-blooded Yeah Girl you cold-blooded Girl you cold-blooded Yeah, girl you cold-blooded Yeah Girl you cold-blooded Girl you cold-blooded
What's going on, everybody? How are you tonight? Let me know if you guys can hear me clearly. Y'all know what time it is. It is the one of the only Sir Hill Speaks. Sir Hill we are in the building. What's going on, everybody? Put a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear me clearly. If you guys can see me clearly, put a 1 in the chat. I want to make sure that we're looking good, we're smelling good, and we're giving you guys a great experience. Let me see them ones. I see you, Bravo. I see you, Take Heed. I see you, Wally. What's going on? Anya, good to see you. We building over here. It is good to see you. Good to see everybody tonight. I'm glad that you guys are here. It has been far too long since I've done a live, and I'm really glad to see everybody tonight. But before we get into the meat of the conversation, I have a simple question that I want you to answer. How are you guys doing? How was your week? How's your family? How's life treating you? How are you guys doing? Y'all talk to me. How are you guys doing tonight? All right. So as you guys are talking, Dr. Nakumbi, good to see you tonight. Glad that you are here. As you guys are coming in here, hit the like button. Be sure, do me a favor. I think something has happened with my YouTube algorithm. And I think that somehow we need to make sure that I'm not coming up in people's feed. I get this so much that people are not getting notified when I go live. So unless y'all just don't like the content, be sure, make sure that you guys are subscribed. If you're not subscribed, resubscribe, and then hit that notification bell so that you guys, get all of my content. Okay, let's do that. So we're going to get into some meat tonight. We got some things to talk about, and I'm going to tell you why I'm doing this particular show. If you guys look at my YouTube page, not long ago, I had nearly 800 videos up, between reels, between videos. Yeah, we're looking crispy on that side. So between reels and videos, I had right around 800 videos up. And the majority of those videos were different ways to talk about a common problem we see in relationships. And the main part of that was the issue we see with modern women, right? Of course, this particular this saying, this term coined by one of the best speakers, one of the ones who inspired me. Shout out to Kevin Samuels, shout out to the lead attorney. Those are the two that really inspired me to leverage my voice and talk about these things. Modern women have become the centerpiece of most relationship topics. Now, I will give some credence to say that I do believe that there is a place to talk about this. And it's really important for all of you who are listening to understand that when we talk about relationship issues, we're not simply for those of us who not only want to produce a great show, we're not doing this just to get numbers up or just to get views. Now, listen, this is a business and we are literally vying for attention. We're vying for that. We want to produce a product that is both educational and entertaining. So let's make no mistakes about that. But a lot of us really are trying to make a difference in terms of marriages and relationships. And so modern women have become the centerpiece of this topic. Now, we talk about the outrageous demands that so many women want. They want a man to be darn near perfect, right? He's got to be the right height. He's got to be the right build. He's got to have the right look. He has to have the right amount of money, the right job, the right level of status. Everything has to be right. And so many of these women they don't qualify for the level of man that they say that they want. And you can take this particular point and you can break this down, divide it, and have a million different conversations that are going to be intriguing. But as I was thinking about what I want to talk about as we pivot, we've hit, we've hit our goal for the last year in terms of subscribers and reach. So the conversation has to pivot a little bit. This doesn't mean that we can't talk about the issues. I think we still should. But I think that we have to move more toward solutions and understanding why we are in the current state that we're in now. So there's one piece that I think is very important that we have to talk about. And I named this show what I named it on purpose. It's Fatherless Women Are a Liability to Themselves and Relationships, ? And then I titled this, the meat of this is girls or women need their dads. Daughters need their dads. Now, I want to give a shout out to the content creator whose video I'm going to be focusing on today. I had a chance to talk with her. As a matter of fact, I'm going to drop her Instagram information in here. I had a chance to talk to her. It's funny the way that this came about. Let me just tell y'all. So, as a content creator, if at all possible, if you're going to leverage somebody's content and they are a content creator, do yourself a favor and reach out to them. Just give them a heads up or ask them if it's okay with them to use their particular content. I ended up putting a thumbnail up, and the owner of this, the originator of the content, reached out to me on Instagram, and she did so because for appearances, we're in the age where if you put somebody on a thumbnail, then it's something mischievous. We're going to be doxing or talking about you. And so she was really gracious enough to reach out, and we had a pretty good conversation. I'm looking for her Instagram stuff now. I'm gonna put it in the chat. I want to make sure you guys give her a follow. I really like what she does. A very sweet lady, a very lovely lady, lovely woman. So everybody, her Instagram is, I just put it in the chat. Be sure to patronize her and let her know that you guys have come over from Sir Hell Speaks. We had a good conversation yesterday, and she really explained why she does what she does. And most of this is built on her relationship with her father. And I thought this was great. I thought it was pivotal because we keep on talking about modern women, but we don't talk about the lack, the gaps in development that so many women who are now quote unquote modern, that they were left deficient in. So we have to address this. All right, salute to everybody who's coming again. Be sure to hit that like button, that subscribe button. And if you want to be fancy, be sure to share this out. All right, so let's get into this a little bit. So for years, we know that the conversation is built around mothers and a mother's involvement with their child. right? Mothers are everything. When Mother's Day comes around, then you're typically going to see and hear how great mom is and how wonderful mom is. And all these things are great. It has its place. So you take this decades back, particularly in our American culture, and I would venture to say around the world as well, we have so much research that speaks to the necessity of a mother in a child's life, specifically, when they're younger. It is only until recently where, as we see so many issues in terms of schooling and community, like you guys saw a couple weeks ago, the teen takeover in Chicago, right? You guys, if you guys are not familiar with that, I'll do a quick Google search, and you'll see the teen takeover. When you hear things like this, when you hear things like teens are taking over, and you hear kids are acting out of control, the first logical question is where their parents. But if you scale that back a little bit, the assumption is their dads must not be involved. And the reason why this is said is because we know, even if we don't have research to back up what we're saying, we recognize that fathers provide a level of foundation in children where it doesn't take away their propensity or even their proclivity to do things that are stupid, but that foundation gives them a sense of consequence for their behavior. And this is why it's so important for mothers that you don't take on the mindset that you can do it all by yourself. Like a lot of you take on I can raise a kid by myself because you are able to live by yourself. And a lot of our women merge those two concepts together because you assume that you can live without a man. And as a result of you being able to live without the man, then your kids will be able to as well. And here is a point. Mothers, you cannot make your kids suffer from not having a relationship with their dad because he wasn't a good man to you. Shout out to the lead attorney for something he said. He said very, very meticulously that a man can be a horrible husband or horrible boyfriend. He can be absolutely, the worst. And that horrible man who was a horrible husband, who was a horrible boyfriend, can turn out to be a fantastic father. And I think this is hard for many people to wrap their heads around because we lump one person's performance in one role and we assume that it's like that across the board. No, it is possible. There are men who could be terrible husbands. Now, I don't advocate for this, but I'm just giving you the real. He can be a terrible husband, he can be a terrible boyfriend, and he can be an outstanding father. And mothers, it's important for you to be able to separate your feelings toward him and not allow your feelings to create a gap in terms of bonding between the child and their father. Can we agree? Can we agree with that, chat? Can we agree with what I just said? Is that fair? Is that a fair assumption? That just because it doesn't work out or there's issues between him and mom doesn't mean that there are issues with him and the children. And I know it's a very difficult concept because we see one person in one light and then that light is on them for everything, but we have to get away from that. So let's take this a step further. So we talk about the need for fathers, and oftentimes we talk about sons needing fathers, right? So there are statistics on this that talk about this, how a father who is involved in their son's life helps to prevent, a son dropping out of college, violence, drug abuse, so on and so forth, just by a father's presence being in their life. And so typically when we hear this, we talk about boys need their dads, and it's a very true point. It is only until I've gotten older in my 30s that I realized the significance that daughters need their dads just as much as their sons do. Now, I didn't realize this. I'm gonna give you guys a quick story. I'm gonna give you a little bit of information into my own personal life. When I was about 23, somewhere around there, 23, 24, I forget. Once you hit 35 years old, you know what I'm saying? I forget certain things. Anyway, so I was away. My wife and I, we went through a situation, and she had gone back home with her mom. Right? She's in Texas. I'm in Illinois. And I was out in Illinois working. I was a traveling musician. I made my money doing that way. And all of my life, I have been conditioned that men are providers. I literally thought my sole purpose in terms of having kids was I was a provider, the protector, the disciplinarian. That's it. Anything outside of that, let her mama take care of it, let her grandma take care of it, let the aunties, let other women take care of it. And you start to realize as you get older that, first of all, you want to be more than your child's ATM. Every father, even though he's the disciplinarian, why is this important for you to understand? Dads don't always want to be the disciplinarian. He doesn't always want to be the one who has to put the foot down. Every now and again, dads want the ability not to be the monster. That he gonna be that 80, 89, 90% of the time. But for the most part, fathers want the ability to be able to enjoy their kids as well. So you have to make room for that. Don't keep putting him in a position where he always has to be the one, to solve an issue when the kid is bad. Put him in position to enjoy his kids. Mothers, this is an important thing I'm telling y'all. Like, don't just call dad when the kids won't listen to you. Like, you should be coaching your kids when your husband or their dad walks through that door. They should be going to the door greeting their father. If you don't teach your kids early how to value and to appreciate their dad, it's going to take something critical happening before they understand and before they value him. Right? So mothers, you teach your kids early how to value their father. A father does wonderful things. So anyway, I thought I was just the ATM. I was just that. And when I went to go home to talk to my kids and I was getting ready to go back to Illinois, my 2-year-old daughter looks at me as I'm leaving with a tear in her eye. She used to suck her 2 fingers, and she looked at me and she just simply said, "Daddy, I don't want you to go." You understand? She just that little sentence is, "Daddy, I don't want you to go." She just looked at me with tears in her eyes. And for the first time in my adult life, I realized that I had been getting information about what a father is from mothers. I want you guys to hear what I'm telling you. I got my definition of what a father means from a mother's perspective. And it took me understanding my importance from a child's perspective. A lot of fathers who you guys think don't want to be around their kids, that doesn't come from his relationship with his kid. A lot of times, older adult people have this perception of what a father should be, and he believes that his kid sees him the way that adults see him. And sometimes it takes a child not asking for any money, not complaining about what he's not doing, not saying that he doesn't spend enough time. Sometimes it takes a child just in their innocence, letting a father know that it's not that I just want your stuff, I just want you. And my daughter telling me that, I kid you not, the literal experience is when she said that I told her I would be back in 30 days, and the rest has been history since then. That's the influence that fathers have, but that kids have on their fathers as well. So parents, it's important. Let your kids' relationship be that. And don't pepper their relationship based off of the issues you have in your own. Now, I'm not saying that that's what happened completely in my situation, but I gave that example because this is a common thing that happens all too often. Does that make sense? Chat, if you guys are feeling that, put a 1 in the chat. Let me know you guys are hearing that. A mother and father's relationship is not the relationship between the child and the father. Okay. All right. So speaking this alone, I thought about the fact that we have this crisis of modern women that are unable to really to connect with the man, to bond with the man. Very sexualized, very aggressive, very combative, really can't regulate their emotions. And when you look at this from a research level, you start to realize that the foundation I was talking about includes that emotional self-regulation. So we look at modern women today and see them twerking everywhere, all kind of lewd acts. I mean, with anybody, multiple people don't really value what they have between their legs or any place for that matter. It's because a lot of the values that a father instills in kids were missed. And time doesn't stop. You can't look at a time in your life and then press rewind. You can't reset that. Life just keeps on happening. You get older, you accumulate more experiences. And my concern with a lot of the modern women who we see out here today, a lot of women are looking for a man when really they need is a dad. And I wanted to show you guys a clip of a woman, and I put her link in the chat. Moderators, please promote her Instagram page. Again, very beautiful lady, a lovely lady. I'm going to show you how it's supposed to be. Now, I want you guys to also send love, pour love out to her, because this is a very emotional video for her. She lost her dad. It's going on 6 years. She lost her dad. Her Instagram name is The Exchange Place. The Exchange Place. Her name is Deborah, and she's a podcaster. Very beautiful lady. Very beautiful lady. She loses her dad 6 years ago to cancer, and as a man who's lost his father, I empathize with her. I know what it's like to lose your father. So you guys in the chat, she'll watch this video. Maybe she's watching it now. I know she's busy, but everybody, please just pour some love on her. That this video is her being transparent and vulnerable about her life after losing her dad. Right. So please, in the chat, just show her some love. Just, show her some love as she's vulnerable and she had the confidence to share her experience. I'm going to play this for you guys. And then I'm going to come back. We're going to get into the meat of the conversation, and I'm going to open up the call lines because I really want to hear from you guys as well. So let me share my screen, and we're going to look at this video that she created, and I'll be back to give my commentary as we watch this video. All right.
What most people won't tell you about grief is that it comes in waves. And I'm coming up on year 6 of not having my dad here. And as his birthday approaches, as Father's Day approaches, it is just a gentle reminder that he is no longer here. And as J. Nicole would say, I am somewhere between the casket closing and those cold forehead kisses. And it's been challenging, y'all. Little girls need their dads.
Now, let me stop it right here. This is what she just explained in those few seconds is what so many young women, so many young girls never got. They never got that experience with their dad being there, the comfort, the love, the foundation, the forehead kisses. So many women are, I believe, broken in a lot of areas because the attention that they got was attention that was sexual. It was attention that was geared at getting something from them, not just them based off of who they are as being someone of value in the eyes of their fathers. And I think that this has caused some of the havoc we see today. That women got attention, but it was a wrong attention, and they got that before the non-sexual attention from a father, right? So when you think about this, think about something that you hear. Whenever a woman gets with a man and he's taking care of her, whether this is in an intimate way or he's providing, her first inclination is to call him Zaddy. And that's daddy, because whether she realizes this or not, so many women are looking for fathers inside of their mates. They're looking for a level of attention, whether they are aware of this or not. They're looking for what they were void of in their childhood and their later relationships. If you guys really You think about this from a critical perspective. When you start thinking about what modern women ask for, their men have to be everything. What she's really describing is what a father is to be to a little girl. A father is typically taller. He's typically bigger. He has, he's established. He's a provider. He's an influence to her, right? He's her entire world. A lot of women really are looking for their fathers inside of their mates. And the reason why no man can ever measure up, they can have the perfect man, have the perfect guy, is because they're looking to create an experience that you only get from your dad. And this lovely lady, Deborah, who put this video out here, to me served as a reminder, and that a lot of women today have never experienced this level of love that was innocent, that was foundational to who a girl is as a person. I wanted you guys to hear that. Let's play a bit more of this, and we'll talk some more just a bit.
I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're married or single. There is something so special about being able to say daddy, to be able to have someone who loves you unconditionally, and what I would give to be able to hear baby girl at this point in life. So much has happened in these 6 years, and I know that I wouldn't be doing half of what I'm doing without what he left me with. But I'm learning to give myself grace. I am learning that even in missing him, it's okay to have days. It's okay to feel. I don't always have to be strong.
Like, first of all, are you guys hearing what she's saying? If you guys are feeling where she's coming from, y'all show me in the chat. You guys feel where she's coming from. Look at the way that she's conducting herself. Look at the way that she's communicating. Even though she's grieving and she's in pain, you can tell there's a level of sweetness about her. There's a level of calm about her. She's able to regulate her emotions. She's able to articulate. She's got tears in her eyes. And even with tears in her eyes and going through that pain, she's still able to operate from a level of composure, even going through pain. How many of our women, I mean, as a dad with daughters, this means something to me to see her, because any father aspires to have this kind of impact on their girls. She's composed. What we see so often in our culture today is when our women deal with pain, they're not composed. They're not able to regulate their emotions. As a matter of fact, pain is often the match that sets off this explosion of bad behavior. Whether this is going and getting into relationships that are destructive, or them engaging in behaviors that hurt themselves as a way to cope with the pain that they're dealing with. Fathers help to give you a template on how to deal with the pains of life, because the longer you live, the more you're going to be hurt. And if you're unable to take pain and find a way not to allow the hurt and the pain that you deal with to overcome you in such a way where you can't live and you can't function, then you'll never really be a demonstration of all of the value that your father put inside of you. And she, to me, is a fantastic example of the influence that fathers have on their daughters. A lot of ladies who are watching me today, I want you to hear this. I want some of you to stop looking for a boyfriend, stop looking for a husband, and I want you to go look for your dad. Because often, if you don't have that template of knowing what to expect out of a man and how to appreciate him in his moments where he seems angry, or he seems very firm in his beliefs, or he says something and you know how to respect that, then you're going to take the learning or the lack of learning from your father, and you're going to translate in your intimate relationships, and no man will ever be good enough because you have no idea what a man really is. And so hearing this lovely lady, hearing her explain this, that every girl needs her dad, and how our daughters need to take the time to appreciate their dads, is, I think, enough for our mothers to hear, but it's important for our fathers to hear as well. Is that making sense? Or let's play a little bit more, y'all, and I'll come back with a little bit more commentary.
I don't always have to be okay, and today is one of those days that I'm not okay. I miss my dad. And though I had 18 months with my dad, I watched him through chemo, I watched him through radiation. I got to know my dad as a person and not just a parent. And there's a piece that I have from that, but there's also there's never been a time that I don't want to call him. And today is one of those days that I really wish that heaven had a phone line. Yeah. So if you have your dad here on earth on this side of heaven, make sure you reach out. It's not worth it. I was grateful and blessed enough to have an amazing dad. And I miss him.
And that summarizes my entire deal, man. I don't know about you guys, but as a father, that hits me on the heartstrings. She was blessed enough to have a father. And so while we talk about modern women and modern relationships, I want us to take the conversation a bit deeper. I want us to pivot a little bit and really start getting down to the core foundation of this matter. A lot of women got older. A lot of women they had children. A lot of women got experience. But a lot of women never had the value system, never got the foundation that comes from the presence and the guidance of a father. So my hope for you for seeing that video is to understand that this happened 6 years ago for her. And 6 years ago, going through an issue where she sees her dad in a very different light, although the passing of her father is years ago, the sting of it is still new. And if you've lost your dad or you never had your dad, you know this pain. I talked to her about this, and one of the issues or one of the components that I wanted to bring up is that a lot of our daughters are grieving in a fashion just like Deborah and just like the creator of this video. A lot of our daughters are grieving from the passing of their father. Either he was here and the time that they spent, the affection that he provided, the love that he gave, his passing seems to be the stop of that. And so that grief comes from a place of knowing what love feels like, knowing what the affection and the value of a father is. And so girls who lost their dad are grieving because he physically passed away. But then there's a different type of grief that a lot of our girls are dealing with as well. And this grief is not from the physical passing of that father. It's not from them knowing what a forehead kiss feels like, or from a father patting her on the back or giving her a hug when her heart gets broken from somebody she loved when she was 12 years old. Some girls, their grief doesn't stem from that. Sometimes a girl's grief stems from her never having a father, and she's grieving over the father she's never known. And whether she knows this on a conscious level or on a subconscious level, because she lacked that void, humans are wired to go feel that need. So if you're hungry and you have opportunity, you're going to find a way to go fulfill that need. Just like it is when it comes to someone's nutrition. It's the same thing with somebody's need for emotional validation and for security. Because a lot of women didn't get that from their fathers. They're looking to obtain a father level love from men who often never have fathers themselves. So as we continue to talk about modern women, I want us also to raise the concern and the need for valuable, strong fathers and their influence in their child's life. So for every mother who's on here watching who may not understand the importance of a father because you are looking at his importance through the lens of your relationship with him, I want you to take yourself out of this for a second and understand that your relationship with your man is not the same thing as his relationship with his girl, and that you should never get in the way of him building that bond, because in him building his daughters, what he's doing is he's creating the foundation and structuring her so that when she goes out to become a wife and a mother, she not only is successful in her own life, but she produces children that do the same thing as well. So we have to give some credence that fathers are not just some helpers to mothers. I hate the whole concept that women want a man to come into your life and help you with kids. No, a man ain't coming to help you. Your job really is to assist him, because once those kids are beyond 3, 4, 5 years old, it is that man's job to condition your kids in a way where they can survive and thrive in this life once they leave from the nest. So as we talk about modern women, a solution to this is not to just talk about how women need to submit. Women do need to submit. It's not just to talk about women need to be feminine. They do need to be feminine. A lot of these women need to stop looking for men and for husbands and go back and build a relationship with your father. Because a lot of times the grief that you have from the father you never knew or the father you wish you had, you take that grief out on your husband. And then that in turn creates another snowball of issues between him and his kids. And now we have a whole Black community, a minority community of people who the media has done such a great job of marketing our dysfunction that we're still talking about fathers need to step up when the stats have changed that most fathers, particularly Black men, are in the lives of their kids. Does this make sense, everybody? So the solution to a lot of these problems is not women, you going out there and you finding a man who's got 6 feet, who's 6 feet tall, who's got a 6-inch penis, who's got 6 figures he makes, who you're looking for all the wrong things. And it's a reason why your list of potential suitors are growing. You've been with 10, 20, 30 different men. You're not looking for a husband. You're looking for a dad. And if your father is alive and your concept of your father stems from what your mother told you, I'm going to tell you something that might sting. Sometimes your moms lie to you. I can't tell you how many kids who are adults now who've been lied to about what their fathers were. A lot of people were taught that their fathers were abusive, their fathers didn't love them, their fathers just walked away, didn't care about them. And then the mother works overtime to keep the child from talking and developing a relationship with their dad. And the kid grows up for years believing that the father didn't want them. And they internalize, shout out to Dr. Nukumbe, they internalize this and they assume that their father's absence has to do something with them. That maybe if they were better kids, or if they were more desirable, if they were different, then somehow that if they were different, father would be there, all because of the influence that their mother had on them about how to perceive their father. So some of you who aren't talking to your dads now, who have an issue with your father, you only got one side of the story. You never heard your dad's side. And I encourage you, if he's still alive, to go at least have a conversation with him. You might find that your dad truly did love you, wanted to spend time with you, but because of the issues that he had with your mother, it was either unbearable or she helped to make it impossible. Does this make sense? And mothers, this is going to be important for you as well. A lot of you mothers have to humble yourself. A lot of you have to humble yourself and be honest that in your youth, in your lack of experience, you made the kids pay for issues you had with their dad when the kids had nothing to do with it. Does this make sense? Is this a solution, everybody? Y'all, I see 22 of you watching here. Y'all talk to me. Does this sound like this is something we need to do? We have to get mothers and fathers in alignment. Women have to admit and quit saying you don't need a man, you don't need a husband, you don't need a father, because yes, you do. Whether you might not need him to pay your bills, you might not need him to fix your car, but men are more than paying bills. Men are more than changing the flat tire or taking out the trash. A man's presence, his mindset, his ability to problem solve, his ability to see through things, his ability to be calm under some of the most precarious situations are something that kids have to see so that they know how to navigate the terrains of life. So Black community, minority community, everybody, whether you're Black or white, we are no longer championing any particular rhetoric that suggests that men aren't valuable or important. We are done with that. As a matter of fact, we're changing the language. We have to make it okay to say, I need a man. I need my father. You need your husband. You need male presence. Because where there's an absence of men, there's an increase of crime, there's an increase of poverty. Men do so much. We have to change the language to make sure that our kids understands the value of men and that men feel that appreciation too. Make sense? All right, guys, that's my monologue for now. I'm going to drop the link. I would love for you guys to come up here and tell me if you disagree with anything that I said, or if you have perspective to add as well. I appreciate all of you being here today. I hope you guys are enjoying the show tonight. It's a little bit deeper, deeper than I normally am, but we have to become solutions-based. And I think that when you have a microphone and you have an audience, it is your job to provide value. So let me drop the link really quickly. And if you want to come up here and provide some perspective, I would love for you guys to come up here and talk to me. Shout out to Carl. He says, stop playing games with visitation. What kind of monster does this? This is an absolute important point. Do not play with visitation. Do not play with visitation with your kids. Unless the father is truly in a position where he is putting your kids in danger or you in danger, right? But listen, y'all got to stop playing with this. I watch a lot of different court cases, and I can't tell you how many fake, what do you call those, restraining orders are placed out there. Didn't do anything using the court system to block access to kids. And these kids, you know, the lady that we just saw, the lovely lady Deborah that we saw, she's, you know, she doesn't look like it, but I think she's over 40 years old. So the need of a father doesn't stop once you get, 25 or 30 or 50. As long as your parent is here, as long as your father is here, that need for him always remains. Okay. All right, everybody. So I dropped the link. I would love for you guys to come up here. And in the chat as well, if you guys can just pour on some love for Deborah, for the creator of that video. When she sees this video, I want her to feel that love. She's a great content creator, and we're probably going to be doing some collaborations together. But I really appreciate her for being that open and really getting to the heart of the matter. Let me bring up my first guest. Shout out to Mr. Corey Haga. He is in the building. What's going on with you, sir? How are you?
Hello, Sir Hill. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Thanks for asking.
I have a kind of like a mind-bending question. Do fatherless women, grown women, do they look for fault in a man as a way of coping for their dad's shortcomings or absence?
You know what I would venture to say is if there's women on the line, my ladies have their days where they call in and they don't call in. Listen, ladies, if you're on here, I would love for one of you to answer the question that Corey just posed. I think it was a very profound question. Is that do women find fault in their men based off of the issues or perceived issues they have with their fathers? I think that's a fantastic question. Now, I have a perspective, and I would say yes. I think that father wounds are lasting wounds that impact every other relationship that mimic it. So if there are issues with her father, whether she knows this or not, she's going to project those issues onto her man, right? So if I'll give you an example. If her father abandoned her, or she perceives that her father abandoned her, well, any sign that her man is doing that, whether it's him walking out, during an argument, or it's, him not picking up the phone when she feels she needs him, she's going to interpret that as that same level of abandonment that comes from a father. So just like there are mother wounds for men, I think it's the same case for father wounds for daughters.
Okay, but the other part of this is we all know that women base a lot of their responses off of their feelings, even if there's no proof that the man is doing this, but she feels he's doing this and yet acts, acts that out. I mean, in that instance, how can you have a relationship with someone like that when that has taken place?
Well, so this goes back to what I was talking about earlier about the need for self-regulation with daughters. A woman is going to feel because that's her nature. She's
Mhm.
going to feel. We need her to feel. Is that sometimes those feelings are not attached to an information bank that gives her perspective on what she's actually feeling, right? So her feelings that are legitimate are connected to a bank that reminds her of broken stuff or broken issues, and she's finding a way to weave all that together to make sense of it. And so she makes irrational decisions, but that's because inside of that information bank, her subconscious mind, her experiences, she's pulling on situations that she doesn't have the context for. So we want our women to feel. It's just that we want our women to feel and have enough experience to tie those feelings to something that doesn't make her take it out on the guy that she's with.
What
Does that
would
make
you
sense?
suggest? Yeah, it makes sense. But what would you suggest for the guy that a woman like that is taking it out on?
Well, two things. Like what I said earlier, she needs to go find her dad. If her dad is alive, she needs to go find her dad, or she needs a father figure, right? The man who takes on a woman that lacks a father has to be aware that if she doesn't have a father, you're going to experience a level of problems as a result of her not having a dad. So if he's going to choose to love her, number one, she should go find her dad, be in therapy, but that man has to know that she comes with baggage. She comes with that. And that either he's going to love her through it and help her to get through it if she's willing to, or if it's too much, he has to let her be by herself or let someone else take on that challenge. But women with father wounds, those don't go away very easily. And so that man must know that it's going to take some time for her to recover and to heal from that.
Yeah,
So
but
get therapy, father, and then you gotta know what you're getting into.
I got one more to add to this. What about
Sure.
the bait and switch, where she presents herself as a whole, complete, mature person, and yet behind this curtain is this damaged kid in an adult body?
Yes, I'm sorry. So what's your question on this one?
Well, I was wondering what would the man do? I mean, when he finds out that behind this curtain there is this damaged child inside a woman's body that portrayed herself one way, it's the bait and switch in a relationship, which happens to a lot of men.
So this is going to be a little bit rough, and so the ladies are probably not going to like this, but it's for men. If she's that damaged, you can't pursue a relationship with her
Mm,
because she's going to pull your life down. She's going to, and it's not intentional per se, right? So some women are vicious and they will do this because they want to hurt somebody.
mm,
But a lot of men step in and try to heal a woman who's, shout out to Dr. Nakumbe and Coach K for the show that they did yesterday. But a lot of men step in and they try to heal a woman who, one, is unaware that she needs to be healed, and two, she doesn't want to be healed. And that ends up damaging him and his experience with women. So if she's that damaged and broken, once that becomes obvious and he brings that to her attention, how she responds says it all. So if he tells her, if he tells her she's broken and she's not willing to go to therapy, she's not willing to confront that, she's not willing to change that, then that man has to choose himself. He has to choose to walk away from that relationship and preserve himself, because staying with a woman like that, she is going to destroy you. And the reason she is, what people do to others, what they feel is done to them. If she's destroyed on the inside, she can only give you that level of destruction because people only give you what they have to give. So
mm.
that man has to come out of that relationship and give her space. And it may not be you guys ever get back together again, but he has to love himself enough not to put himself in jeopardy by trying to heal a woman who's not aware that she needs to be healed.
Mm. Thank you, Sir Hill.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody, y'all show some love to Corey. He always comes up here showing love with the great questions. Everybody in the chat, just type in Corey. Much love to you, my brother. Appreciate you. Guys, ladies, did you agree with what I just said? Was that fair? That if a woman is broken, a man can't step in and heal a woman who doesn't want to be healed or is unaware that she's broken, right? A man can't do that. It's not his job. He can love her, he can support her, he can assist her, but that man can't heal her. She has to want to do that for herself. Let me bring up my next guest. I happen to know her personally. Lady Hale, what's going on with you?
Hello, Sir Hale. How are you this evening?
You know how I'm doing. We live together. I'm good. How are you? How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. It's a pleasure to be on here again. I guess I'm gonna come up and kind of represent the ladies tonight. And hopefully some of my sisters will begin to come on as well. Because I want to address kind of what Mr. Corey was talking about, as in, the women will come, and then he said, well, they bait and switch. Well, some women don't, like you said, don't even realize that they're even baiting and switching, because they can be at a point in their life where they think they are they're necessarily whole, and just because I didn't have my father in my life or whatever, I'm good, not realizing that there is indeed effect on there's indeed an effect on their mind, on their thing, and now they literally they find themselves in relationships, and most of the time will end up either self sabotaging, because they have not dealt with the daddy issues. And true, it is unfair for a man to have to necessarily come in and basically be therapy for her, because that's not really his place to necessarily do that. And some of us, we have, including my own self, whereas maybe we was younger, like we might have had off and on relationships with our fathers, and then as we got older, we finally start to have a relationship with our father, and then begin to see, oh my God, I missed this, I'm lacking this, because you can develop in one area and still lack in another.
Absolutely. So what's your advice then to women who want relationships but didn't get the experience of having a father to create that foundation in them? What advice do you give them as they approach relationships and potentially marriage?
As they begin to approach relationships, I advise them, if your dad wasn't around, at least maybe an uncle or a cousin or something like that, a male, find a male figure where you can ask about, little things or whatever, that you can see how, especially if he's married, and see how he treats his family, how he treats his children, how he treats his wife, and also looking at how that wife interacts as well with the husband as well, because a lot of times we all fall on this thing. I don't know. I ain't never seen it, so I don't know what that looked like. I ain't never seen it. I don't know what that looked like. And obviously, just like we do everything else, we YouTube everything else. We Google everything else. We can start Googling, what do traditional or whatever type of relationships you're into, but what does that look like? How does that look healthy? We can always read books, we can always watch podcasts or listen to podcasts, songs, whatever, but we can find an example. And a lot of times we always use that crutch of I don't know, and we don't seek. So my thing is, if it's something that you don't know, seek it out. Seeking, you'll find it. So you have to definitely seek it out.
Excellent wisdom. Everybody, please show some love to the one and the only Lady Hale. She came in here and dropped some nuggets tonight. Y'all show some love to her. I really appreciate the first lady who's come up tonight. Really, really appreciate you. We could go a little bit deeper, but I'm gonna do a part 2 of this particular show. No. I really got to get out of here. So we can do a part 2 soon. But I appreciate you coming up.
Awesome. Have a nice night. Good night, everyone. I mean, I'm going to see you, but
hey, yo, I got you. All right, love.
Bye.
That was really good, everybody. That was really good. Let me say this to a lot of the ladies who are watching this. It's important. You have to have men in your life who do not want you for sex. This is such a big thing, because as you get older, 90% of your 98% of your non friendship, deep, I mean, real sincere friendship and family friends who are male, they trying to hit that. They want, and it's not that they want you, is that they're men and men want what they want. A woman has to have male attention that's not connected to the possibility that he's going to have sex with her. And this is so important because so many of you women, you gauge your desirability based off of your sexuality. So the more sexual attention you get, the more you feel desire from a man. Yeah, this explains why so many women spend so much time, they spend so much of their time trying to garner attention from Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and so on and so forth, because they're the only form of true desire that's powerful to make them feel valuable comes from the sexual attention, because they don't know what the non-sexual attention is and how that makes her feel desired, not on a sexual level but just on a very human level. So women, you have to go find your father. And this is why I do podcasts like this. My wife told me, she said, babe, the reason you're so old school sounding and you have your mindset is maybe you get to be a voice for women who didn't have a father to tell them the truth. It doesn't mean that I have to be older than you or I have to be your real dad. But sometimes women have never heard the voice of a man tell them the objective truth. And so if I have the opportunity to do that, my hope is to give women this level of insight that you don't need a husband right now. You do not need a boyfriend right now. A lot of you simply need a father or a father figure. All right, let me bring up my next guest. And Lady Sheila, I see you back there. It is good to see you. You'll be up right after Simon. Everybody, please show some love to Simon. What's going on, my brother? Good to see you. It has been quite some time.
Yes. Yeah, peace, man. This is a salty subject. And in particular, like the lady that just came on your platform, she has something to say. But the thing is like,
oh, the lady that was Lady Hale, was my wife. Yep. So she came up here. She wasn't on camera today, but yeah, that was Lady Hale.
No, I'm not talking about your wife. The woman that came on prior to your wife, she had something to say, which
it was only a man.
Oh, okay. All right.
You call him, hey, Chad, Mike.
All right, let me check myself. Click.
You talking about Corey? Yeah, that was a brother. Yeah.
All right. So what I heard was the narrative of the woman, like in terms of your subject versus what's actually going on in reality. And the thing is like not being like dishonest or anything. It's just like black men have to sort of succumb to this sort of thing where, black women dictate our situation. And it causes anxiety, it causes grief, it causes a whole heap of problems that black women don't really want to sort of like go, okay, we're gonna sort of take care of that. It becomes a big issue internally for black men, so the fatherless woman thing is something that most black men are not subconsciously aware of. They don't understand the liability that lies within your future as a black man. When you have a black woman that dictates everything that actually goes on within your damn situation. Like, you're brought up by a black woman, and yet she does not have the security of a black man. She does not have a security of her family. She does not have the security of a relationship. So where are we at? Where we're bringing up black people, we're bringing up black young males in particular to just realistically go into the prison system.
But
Because
so,
on
so
those,
hold on. So before we get into that, that's not the direction that I want to go in the conversation to go in. But let me address your point. Um, a lot of women raise kids to be like them, and a lot of our women raise our kids from a place of fear, right? So if they've had a bad experience in an attempt to protect their kids from a level of pain, whether this is founded or not, they infuse their kids with that level of fear as well. So, case in point, if a mama is afraid of a bug, and she communicates that fear to her kids by how she responds to it. It's the same thing with relationships. Kids take their cues from their primary caregiver. So, if she has a bad experience in relationships, whether she realizes this or not, kids are taking their cue from her. And this stems from what I said before. A lot of those mothers didn't have fathers, or their relationship was strained, but we had kids. And there is no, you don't have a kid and then all the lessons you didn't get, you suddenly get, and then you give it to your kids. No, typically when you get kids, you lock into a mode and you stay there and you give your kids what you have. So a lot of women intentionally, you know, do bad things in terms of their relationship with their kids and fathers. But some women are just lost because they never had the guidance necessary until they become older and life starts to slow down and they have an opportunity to reflect.
yeah, I
Does that
appreciate
make
that.
sense?
It does. I mean, but there's the whole thing around, and I don't want to go too far on this, but there's a whole thing around the woman would turn around and say to you, well, if I become pregnant, um, you don't know what that looked like. So it's
I'm
like,
sorry, say that one more time.
if you become pregnant, like as a woman, like a woman will turn around and say, like, if I become pregnant, you don't know what that looks like. You're a man. You could pull up this whole masculinity shit and go, oh yeah, I'm providing and this, that, whatnot. But men do not typically understand the differences of the body and how the body encounters certain things that enables you to have your legacy. Because most men are asking for is like, oh, we want a legacy. That's our child. So we're reaching out to these ladies and these women. Salute yo, because I don't know what that is. Yo, they be going through some stuff. You get what I'm saying? Which we don't understand. Period. Like, but at the same time, we have to be out here and we got to be the constructors. We have to be the people that put your central heating on. We have to be the people that, facilitate your whole realm in terms of putting those four walls around you to make you feel comfortable. Um, you know, and we can do that. There's no problem with that, and we succumb to that. But then there's this wild shit that comes out. And, for us who are married or have ever been experienced in marriage, we're cool because it's like, yo, I found the one. But for the rest of the population, and we're talking about like, maybe 60, 70% of the population, they ain't feeling that. They ain't.
So yeah, so let me resend it. And I got to get to my next caller, but let me say this to your point. You're right in what you're saying in a lot of aspects, but that's the reason why I'm doing this particular show. The solution to that is a lot of women and men need a father. Like a lot of men are trying to figure it out as well as women. So the solution to this is go and find your dad. Go find somebody that you can listen to and respect that gives you perspective on life, because women are trying to figure it out the best that they know how to. Some are just rebellious. And I'm not really speaking about the rebellious woman. I've got to leave that to, Lady Sheila or Mrs. She Said, or, somebody like that to deal with that. But a lot of women don't know. And it takes a man who cares about them, who doesn't want their body, to tell them the objective truth, to give them an opportunity to reshape the way that they see things. So you're right. What you communicated is a problem. But the solution to this is women need to go find their fathers. And if their fathers are not here, they have to find themselves a father figure.
Yo, I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, appreciate you.
I'm watching you. I'm watching your channel. Yo,
Hey, man, it's good
everyone
to see you, brother. Good to
subscribe,
see you.
man. God damn. Yeah, Sir Hell speaks.
Hey, hey man,
Yeah.
appreciate y'all. Yeah, everybody type Simon in the chat, man. Appreciate you coming out, brother.
Oh, I'm bounce out, man. We'll see each other later.
All right, man. Take care, brother. All right, that was really good. That was really good. So let me bring up my next caller. I've got time for one other caller after this. If anybody wants to call in, shout out to this lady who's getting ready to come up here now. She has a very special place in my heart. I'm really glad for her. So we're going to come up here and let's hear what she has to say. Everybody, show your love for the one and the only Bravo with Sheila lady. Let's chat. She is in the building. How are you?
Hi, hello. Can you hear me?
Loud and clearly.
I'm so sorry I'm not on camera, but this was unexpected, right? So I'm lounging, but hello to the chat and to everyone who's been on. You know how I feel about you and Lady Hale. I'm so glad that you're talking about this, Sir Hale. I'm really happy. I have a lot of emotions on the inside right now because since being in the YouTube streets, learning so many things about the manosphere, modern day women, and I've been educated on different levels because I'm a bit older than most of you guys, but I'm not out of tune with life. And so hearing this, I'm glad to hear this conversation because it gives a lot of insight on some of the depth of the conversations that we've been having about women who are not behaving correctly or who are not understanding how to be a wife or who think they are this and that. And this kind of content is bringing a level of, I want you to know, knowledge and options and healing. Even with just tonight, what you're saying, I can hear a level of healing and knowledge that I haven't heard a lot in the streets. And so I wanted to really thank you for going this way and giving this opportunity, because fatherless women is a very deep, deep, deep situation for many, many women. And I realized that those, and I give so much, I heard so much compassion. And the young lady, the on IG clip, her feeling, her loss. And what I liked about her and what you said is that she, even though she's feeling this, she's still in touch. She's navigating. She's not giving in to these strong emotions she's feeling about this great man that was in her life that she has lost. I liked when she said she got the opportunity to learn him as a person, not just her dad. That is so important. And so there are many women who never even had an opportunity to have a father speak into their lives or kiss them on their forehead or tuck them in bed at night. And so when women like that grow up, there's a huge void. And yes, you are correct about a father not being present and what damage it does. And then what happens because of how today is, it gets so muddy and covered up with the image of what women have now. It's about image and the beauty and, all the things that are outside and on the inside, they're dying in silence, and as far as having men and having them as your dad, that happens all the time. Because anytime a man approaches a young woman or older woman and they begin to speak from a place of strength and, like, I care about you and all those things, they don't hear that man. They hear the voice of the dad they never had. So immediately there's a connection. There's a connection, even despite all of the other things that they don't check off of that checklist. The void and spaces inside of women is really, really deep. And then the gentleman that came on that was talking about the woman who uh what do you do when a woman is this and what do you do is, and I heard so much in his heart. And I put in the chat that you can't fix her. You cannot be a fixer. It has to get to a point where she needs to be, wants to be healthy and stop being irrational in her thoughts and her behavior. And before you get to that point, you're right, he has to make a move because he'll become totally codependent, and then it'll be a real toxic relationship. So I really, really appreciate you talking tonight about this, because my dad left when I was very, very young because he had a mistress called alcohol. And so my house became a house of hell almost every night. When he wasn't drinking, he was the perfect man. But most times he take one drink and it was a wrap for the whole household. And so at 11, 12 years old, my dad was gone. And so I understand the void and the mistakes that I've made in my older years, not knowing what that void was speaking to me, didn't know what that void was saying until I went through trial and error and a few relationships and had to really sit myself in myself and see what was missing. So it's a deep thing, Sir Hill. It's just a deep thing. You know my story. You know I had my first kid at 15. You know that my husband was murdered at 17, the day my daughter was born. So that's a cycle that kept going and on. And then what happened? My kids became fatherless. So what did I have to give them as young women? And you're right. A woman can't give that substance and that structure that a man can give children, whether it's a child, a female child or a male child. So everybody has a story and everybody has a circumstance and a situation that needs to be paid attention to. And at a certain point, we got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired and really, really come out of denial within ourselves and want to be different and want to be whole. So I thank you for this conversation.
That was perfect. Everybody, y'all know who Lady Sheila is. When she comes on here and she speaks about something, I just want to hear her talk because she comes from a place of depth and love. And I'm really glad that you said that because, like, I do a lot of this content. I talk a lot about women, and I just went back through my stuff, and I really had to be critical about what I offer. I do raise issues because it's an important thing. We have to raise a person's consciousness before we bring correction. If you try to correct something that they're not conscious about, you run yourself in a loop. So we have to talk about the issue. But the stem of the issue and the necessity of fathers, I think is something that really needs to be focused on a little bit more. And I see so many women out here desperate. And it hurts my heart as a father with two girls. A lot of women are desperate and they're desperate for attention. Yes, some of these, some women are out there, but a lot of these women really do want a father. They want love and they want genuine care. And a lot of them have just conflated genuine care and love. They've conflated that with sexual attention in the world that we've created. And so what I wanted to do with the conversation is pivot a little bit and show a little bit of grace. And now, you know how I am. I gotta give it to a real, but it can't be all correction. It's got to be some love in there. There's got to be some grace in there. So I wanted to offer that tonight as a way to show women that if you want to change and you're willing to do what it takes to change, you can.
You got to do the work. You got to do the work because you can't keep mixing roles up. The images of who you want and who you miss, you can't keep mixing the roles of a dad and your man or your husband and your dad. There has to be clarity and, there has to be a balance within your heart and your space inside of yourself. So it's so important that we stop mixing roles and figuring out how can we replace or get, even with your voice tonight. I'm telling you, just what you're talking, even though you're not the father of the women you're speaking to, you're dropping jewels and you're giving sound counsel without even counseling, but counseling. Giving options, because you're touching the heart. And see, that's where I'm at. You know how I am. I'm about the heart of a person. I don't care where you've been, what you did. We can get up, brush off, and keep it moving and fix it. But you got to do the work. You got to do the work and stop pointing fingers at other people and turn the finger on yourself, because when nothing changes, nothing changes.
Absolutely. Everybody, I want everybody to just type in bravo. Everybody in the comments, just type in bravo. Bravo with Sheila. It's been too long. If you're open to it, I think we need to do a show together soon. I think we need to.
Just hit me up. Okay.
We'll do. I
All right.
appreciate
Love you guys. Ciao.
Ciao. Yeah, that was really good. That was really good, everybody. That was really good. So listen, guys. I'll say this one time, then I'm gonna bring up my last guest. The doctor is in the building. And what I talk about, it can't be all checking. Now, you guys know I'm a traditional man, and I believe in some women just need to be checked. But it can't be all that. It can't just be, we spend all of our time talking about what women are not. You can't say you love somebody and then it's all criticism, right? There's got to be some correction. There's got to be we're raising the level of consciousness of the issues we're dealing with. But there has got to be some love and some grace in here as well, because at the end of all of this, we're still dealing with human people. And although we are capable of some of the most stupid behavior, I think that a lot of people would change if there was a consistent example of what change looks like, and a support system rallied around people who were trying to do something that they never saw done before. I think a lot of women want to be a wife and they never seen how one operates. A lot of these women, are mamas, but they're not mothers because they've never really had one. And so in order to move the conversation forward, I think that we have to season all of these conversations with a little bit of grace for each other. What do you guys think about that? You guys agree with that? Let's bring up Doctor to the show. Let's hear what he has to say. Everybody show some love to the one of the only Dr. Nakumbe is in the building. How are you, sir?
Fabulous. And yourself?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for asking.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. I was on the road, but moving, but I pulled over and said I just wanted to add a word or two to the wonderful message that you delivered tonight. Shout out to your chat, people in the chat. I just want to add, and I've heard you talk about it on your other shows, but I know how it is when you're doing a show. Sometimes at certain points you can't get to, or you have to lay the foundation first. Just wanted to talk about fear for the fathers out there that are listening, that actually want to take on the task of reuniting or uniting with your daughters, and understanding that there may be an initial fear or even a sense of not good enough, inadequacy, and or shame and guilt. I just want you to think about the trade-off. It might be easier to ask for forgiveness later than to swallow your pride. But this is an opportunity that you can't get back. Pretty much to what Sir Hale was saying earlier, you cannot get this time back. And it is never, ever, ever too late. It is never, ever, ever too late. As Mrs. She said, if you need to go get some help first to ready yourself, some coaching, some counseling, some spiritual healing, to get yourself together just for the approach. Your daughter can always work with you while you heal together, but don't use the excuse of not ready, not ready, not ready, not ready. Get ready, be ready, do what you need to do. Last thing I want to say for the daughters out there who maybe your father just won't make that first move. I'm not placing that responsibility on you, but I am asking for those fathers, if you are courageous enough and willing just to offer the invite, you won't be responsible for their response, and that might hurt as well. I'm just saying, if you feel courageous enough and motivated enough and you're willing to take the response either way, may not be favorable, but you can at least say you made it known that you wanted that relationship. You want it known that you're willing to forgive, or you made it known that you would like some answers. But I'm imploring the fathers to follow through on this message. But the daughters out there who may feel like your father just won't or doesn't know, if you would please be willing to take that risk if you're comfortable with that. I'll land the plane at that. And again, thank you, sir, for this much, much, much needed conversation. And I wish everyone well. If there's any way that I can partner with you or anyone who wants support, or if you dropped, I think your link is in there. If there's people I can send to you to get support, I will. And thank you for doing what you're doing. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Everybody just type doctor in the comments. I really appreciate it. Always appreciate you coming up here. Always great perspective. Everybody just type doctor in the comment section. I truly, truly appreciate you, sir. All right, guys, this was a fantastic show. Shout out to Mrs. She Said. Ladies, it's important. I want you guys to really patronize the women. I try not to list names because I always forget people. But people like Mrs. She Said, people like the unsolicited security boss, it's too many. It is so many women that I take heed to the message. Bravo with Sheila, ladies, let's chat. Anybody you pretty much see on my channel, I highly recommend that we don't just look at these shows as shows. Guys, listen to me. Some of these, our YouTube channels are your last resort, right? Like a lot of you guys have been wondering, where's support? Where do I go get answers? Where do I go get help that I need? Does anybody really care? And it's not a coincidence that you have people who are speaking to the very issues you're dealing with. Now, you could either keep on doing life the way you've been doing it. You can keep on doing the very same things, but you're going to get the same results. I want everybody to take advantage of the opportunity for people who are coming online, producing and providing quality, because we really want to see your life better. So patronize them. Go to Bravo with Sheila, ladies, let's chat. Go to Mrs. She Said, Mr. He Said. Go to Unsolicited Security Boss. Go to Take Heed to the Message. There are a lot of different people and people who add to the conversation. My wife adds to the conversation. Lady Navoa adds to the conversation. I mean, the list goes on and on. At the end of the day, if we do these shows and you're not being helped by this, we're wasting our time. And let me tell you something. Most of us have family. We got kids. We got jobs. We don't want to waste our time, and neither do we want to waste yours. So to all of my ladies out there who are listening to this show tonight, I am going to spend a lot of my time talking about issues that I see and how to address these things. But in talking about these issues, you'll find me distancing myself from people who don't contribute to answers, who don't solve problems, who keep up mess. I don't hang around that because that's not my personality. We've got to be around adults who want to act like adults who can see an issue and articulate it, because part of problem solving is being able to articulate the issues. So a lot of you guys who just jump on streams and you hear people describing an issue and you think that it's complaining, you have no idea about problem solving, because you cannot readily solve a problem that you cannot readily articulate. So in articulating the issue and agreeing that this is an issue, then you move to the next stage where you provide solutions for that. And my goal is to connect with like minds who want to have a good time talking about things, but who at the end of the day, you want to see better marriages, better relationships, and families created as a result of the things we talk about. So ladies, go find your dad. Before you try to get into another romantic relationship, go find your father, because you need to know what your worth is beyond the sexual attention you get from men who want you in a natural way, but who really can't fill a void that exists because they can't replace the impact of a father in your life. All right. Well, much love to everybody. I hope that you guys enjoyed this stream tonight. Again, I don't know what's been going on, but my algorithm has changed and it's been really difficult. Podcasting is not an easy thing to do. Podcasting ain't easy to do, right? So if you guys love what I do, you care about what I do, do me a favor, share this out, and thank you to everybody who invites people to join my streams. Make sure that if you are subscribed, that you get the notification bell. My goal is to reach as many people as possible, and I can do that with your help. So to everybody, I love you. Have a great night. Peace and blessings to you. Shout out to Sir Von Brian. Good to see you. I saw your comments in there. Had me cracking up. I appreciate you. I love everybody. We'll talk with you again soon. The last thing is, let me put the Deborah's. This is the lady whose video I watched. Everybody go to her Instagram and be sure to show her some love. Show her some love. Please let her know that you were on Sir Hell's network and you saw the video, and just send her some encouragement, send her some love, pour that on her. I want her to feel that love for being able to articulate her feelings and the importance of a father. All right, y'all. Until next time, Sir Hill Speaks is out of the building. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll see you all next week. We'll talk with everybody again soon. Take care. Peace.
Let it go. 얼어붙어 like whoa. 띵하고 어지러워. I see. 한여름에도 넌 겨울. Yeah, yeah. 너와 있을 때 I swear. 제가 먼저 zero 폭설한 그 chill day. 꿈에도 I wasn't aware. 나만 빼고 넌 모두에게 참 친절해 배신감이 들어 단판이 돼도 머릿속을 흔드는 ibuprofen 그만해 it's time to stop 승부욕을 자극하는 스타일 yeah. 알면서도 마음이 자꾸 내게 가 안만 빠져버릴까 If you want me back I'll tell you I'm sorry If you want me back I'll tell you stop trying Yeah, yeah, you got me Let it go 얼어붙어 like whoa 띵하고 어지러워 I see 한여름에 더 넘겨 Yeah, girl you cold-blooded Yeah, girl you cold-blooded Yeah, yeah, yeah Girl you cold-blooded Girl you cold, girl you cold-blooded I'm like frozen 뭐야 모두 stress은 gotta let it go 했어 소개팅 데이팅 어플 다 깔아 또 보았어 반대가 끌린대 opposites attract Don't know about me and you yeah we fell into the cracks Yeah 갖고 너네 no cap 왜 나는 보여 what's happening 객관적일 수가 없이 이미 game white flag and wave it fast Yeah I'm leaving back but 말은 don't 너만 보면 나도 내 맘 I don't know 이건 love a relationship 헷갈리기만 해 girl I'll tell you I'm sorry If you want me back I'll tell you stop trying Yeah, yeah, you got me Let it go 얼어붙어 like whoa 띵하고 어지러워 I see 한여름에 더 넘겨 Girl, you cold-blooded Let it go 얼어붙어 like whoa I see 한여름에 더 넘겨 Yeah, girl you cold-blooded Yeah, girl you cold-blooded Yeah, yeah, yeah Girl you cold-blooded Girl you cold-blooded